Hello everyone. Today we're going to make a start on our granny square blanket. I'm going to show you how to make the granny squares. We'll come back on another video to joining for those of you who are making 4 squares, and then another video will be all about edging and bordering. Alright, I am doing my blanket in Stylecraft Special DK, which is an 8-ply. I'm using a 4mm clover or more hook, that's my favourite, and of course your scissors and darning needle. Now you can use any yarn you like. If you've got a larger weight yarn, say it's a light worsted or a 10-ply, you just need to work out which is the correct crochet hook to use. So for the 8-ply, all you do is halve the 8 and you come up with a 4, and you're using a 4mm hook. Some people do love to use a 4.5 or even a 5 on the DK weight. It's all personal preference and it all comes with time and experience. Now, if you've got a light worsted that's a 10-ply, you divide the 10 by 2 and you would go for a 5mm hook. That's just a standard way of working it out. Now, if you haven't already, go back and watch the previous video that I put up. It gives you a few different options on what to make and how to go about that. This project and every other project on here is done in US terminology. Okay, let's get going and dive on in. Just a few more things before we start. I begin my work with a magic ring. Now I use a double magic ring because I've had single ones come undone. So I'll teach you that as I go. Then we are going to flip our work every row. So every alternating row is the same side. I do 1 chain in between my corner clusters and I don't do any chains on the side. This is, again, is just my personal preference. If you prefer to put a chain on each side, that's a-okay and fine to do. Now we're also going to be changing colour every round. So what we do is change the corner we start from. All of these things I've just spoken about we use to try and prevent that slant that the granny square blankets can get. And I think I do a good job of it because this one is not slanty whatsoever. I start with a standing stitch. So that means when we come around to finish the round, I finish with an invisible finish, and I will show you how to do that as we go along as well. If you've got another technique of starting and ending your round, you can also do that too. So grab your hook and your yarn and let's go and get into it. For round 1, hold your yarn in your left hand and wrap it around your fingers twice. Then holding on to the loops, pulling up a loop with your hook, yarn over and chain 1. Okay, that secures the 2 loops. And it is also the beginning stitch for round 1. So we're going to do 3 chains and that represents a double crochet. Now I start in the middle of the corner. Don't be worried, you'll see how that evolves very soon. So that means we need to do another chain 1 for our corner chain. Now we're going to do 3 double crochets. Yarn over, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And let's do that one again. There we have our first cluster, so chain 1 for our next corner. Now we do another cluster of 3 double crochets. chaining 1, holding on to that yarn end from the magic loop, chain 1. Now we've got 1 stitch here, chain 1, 1, 2, 3 clusters, chain 1. Now in the next cluster we only do 2 double crochet because it joins up to this one to make 3. That's 1 and 2. So to join these you need to take your work off your hook, pulling that yarn end to see which loop cinches in. Once you've found it, pull that loop back out and it'll cinch the other one in. Now pull your yarn end and they're both in. All right, for those of you who use a slip stitch into the top of the 3 chain, you go ahead and I'm going to show you how I do a invisible finish. Righto, we'll snip off our yarn end, pulling that through, popping it on your needle. Now we don't want 1, 2 and 3, we want to go under chain number 4 because the 1, 2 and 3 represents double crochet. So we always do the invisible finish through the stitch next to the first one that was made. Because doing this invisible finish, you develop the little V at the top, which looks exactly like all the others, and it sits over top of that first stitch. I hope you kind of understand what I mean when I say that. Anyway, just go with it. Things will evolve in time. Righto, so darning in your yarn ends. There's not a lot of space on this first round, so I tend to do most of it down around the very center. And 4, trying to go through some of the threads. If you break through the threads, it helps hold that yarn in much better. Snip that one off. Doing our center one. 1, 2, 3, and 4 will do. It's all pretty tight in there. There we have your first round. Okay, now we are going to turn this over for round number 2. For round 2, we're going to do a standing start. So we're going to make a slip stitch to pop on our hook. Hold your yarn end in your right hand, making a loop, pulling that yarn end through, and there you have a slip stitch on your hook. Now that one is movable, so you can tighten it at the end because sometimes they leave a very unsightly loop when you do the slip stitch that you can't decrease or increase in size. So we're finding our corner, any corner space, we yarn over, pop our hook through that corner, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to make 2 clusters here, so it's a corner and it'll have a chain in between. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's 2 double crochets and 1 more. Chaining 1. Now we do 3 more double crochets into this corner space. And 3. I'm not doing a chain, I'm going straight into the next corner space with 3 more double crochets. Chaining 1, 3 more double crochets, straight into the next corner space with 3 double crochets, chaining 1, another 3 double crochet cluster, into the last corner, that's 3 double crochets, chaining 1 and 3 more double crochets. Now those of you who do a slip stitch to join, go ahead. I'm going to do my invisible finish for round number 2. Okay, so we don't want to go under that first little V here, we go under the second. Now, placing your needle down the center of the last stitch that you made, that creates a V on the top which looks exactly the same as all the others. Now to darn your yarn ends in, I go up and over and all over the place, down and around the thicker corner sections, and back. Darning in our first little yarn end. Now it really needs to go across that gap so it joins up to the double crochet on the other side. It just makes your work look the same as all the other sides. Again, darning in your yarn. Making sure that you break through some of the threads and change direction as well. Right, so that's round 2. For round 3, we're going to flip our work and choose any corner to start in. So doing that, slip stitch onto your hook, yarning over, doing a double crochet into any corner space. Now we're going to complete 2 clusters here with a chain in between. 2 and 3. Now we have a side space. I'm not doing any chain. You can if that's what you normally do. And if you like your work to be more drapey and loopy, you would put chains on the side. Okay, so again, I'm not doing a chain. I'm going straight into that corner space. For some reason, I can't describe why, just like my granny squares to be closer together, not too many loops. We do develop our own preferences, don't we? And that's a-okay too. We can work with that. Chain 1, now another 3 double crochet cluster. Yarn over, a side cluster, and into the last corner, chain 1, 3 double crochet, another cluster on the side, and there we have it, round 3. That was quick. Snip your yarn off. I'm not going to show you how to do any more darning in of yarn ends. It's a bit tedious, so I'll meet you back for round 4 very soon. Here you can see that we've got on our first round is the right side, second round is the back, third round is the right side. So fourth round we're going to do the back. Now we're going to pick a corner that we didn't work in last time. Again, another slip stitch on your hook. Yarn over, starting in any corner space. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're going to do 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, into the next space on the side, we do 3 double crochet, and again. Now for the corner, 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. Now clusters on the side, into the corner. The granny square has such a nice rhythmic calmness, doesn't it? Something about it. Into the sides. I'm sitting here wondering what colours you've chosen. Please email me progress pics anytime you like. And when I get enough of them, I will pop them in a slideshow. It's nice to see what other people are creating, isn't it? And there we go. That was round 4. How quick. How quick and easy was that? Yarn ends. I'll see you again soon. Okay, that's round 1, 2, 3 and 4. We're going to turn over our work. Now I know that we started in this corner, so I'm going to change my starting position. Popping another slip stitch on my hook. Yarn over into that corner space, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Doing 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. Now we have an extra space along the side. Remembering you can do your chain 1s there if you prefer. I don't, and I only do a chain 1 in the corner. I don't do chain 2. Chain 1, another cluster, and across the side we go. As you're working along, you can see that you are crocheting over top of some of the yarn ends, and that just gives them even more security. Chain 1, another cluster for the corner, across the side we go. Now if I'm crocheting too fast for you, you don't need to worry, because I've already shown you the most important information, and you can just go back to the start of any row where I start off a bit slower, then I hurry along as we go around. I don't want to bore you to tears. And you can stop and start the video at any time. I often do that. I often have to tap it back to reverse to see what someone did again when they're trying to teach something online. There's our round number 5. Now we're on to round 6. Front, back, front, back, front. Time to turn our work and choose a different corner. You can tell quite easily which corner you started in by noticing where the yarn ends are darned in. So I've started in this corner and I'm just going to pick another one. Popping a slip stitch on my hook. It's time for some new colour. Yarn over, popping your hook through the corner space, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1 double crochet. Now we'll do a second and a third and a chain 1 into that same corner space. Do 3 more double crochet. Now doing clusters all along the side. Working into your corner. Chain 1. Another cluster done. Now we go across the row. I feel like I should have done cream in between this mushroom and the blue, but you know what? I'm just going to have to go with it. Because you have to think about the big picture. When you start off, you can overthink the colours. When you're doing a project that you don't want to overthink, you want to just pick one and go. There's plenty of projects where we have to think about colour placement, isn't there? The granny square to me is more about having a project that is calm and relaxed. Chaining 1, another cluster here in this corner, something you can just pick up and put down with no instructions in front of you. No counting of stitches and no changing of stitch styles. One more cluster here. And I'll go off and darn in my yarn ends. Now we're on to round 7. So flipping our work, making sure we're in a different corner space, popping a slip stitch on our hook, yarning over, and beginning the double crochets, 2 and 3, chain 1, double crochet, 3, and now working along the side. Now for the corner, 3, chain 1 and 3 more double crochet. That's one side of our square done. I'm going to go off and do the remainder while you do too, and I'll see you back here at the very start. We're at the end of round 7. I'll just do darning yarn ends in with you one more time. Just remember, don't go under that first little V on the top. Go underneath the second. That's if you're doing a invisible finish. Okay, so we're going to create another little V look that will sit on top of the first stitch that we made. There we go. Now darn that side in, breaking through fibres, going in and out of loops, changing directions, and making my way through there. If your yarn's too small and it pops out, still put your needle in, then you thread your yarn once the needle's in position. One more time up here. That will be just about it for that one. The next one, that's the one that needs to cover the little gap here to make it look like all the others look. I don't leave very long yarn ends because I'm always conscious of the amount of yarn I use up. I've only got a certain amount of this cream, so I need to be very conscious of that. Oops. Pop that in your needle and pulling it through. There we go. 1 and 2. Next round is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Next round is number 8. So we're turning our work again, finding the corner that we used last, and that is it there. So I'll move over to a different corner. Slip stitch on your hook, and off we go. Double crochet times 3, chain 1, and double crochet times 3. Moving along the side, doing 3 double crochet in each space. Now around you go. I will too, and I'll see you soon. Doing the invisible finish really is tedious, but once you succumb to it and it just becomes a part of every stitch, every round, every row, you just do it without thinking, because the result is so worth it. So I was that convinced that I do it all the time now. It does take time, but you know, I figure I give that much love to my work, I may as well finish it off as beautifully as I can. Oops, no yarn in that one. Try again. There we go. For round 9, we're going to flip our work again, finding the corner that we did not use last. Slip stitch on your hook, yarn over, and that's round number 9 done. So we're going to turn over our work, find the corner we started in and choose a different one. Slip stitch on your hook, and off we go again, ready for a cluster, chain 1 cluster in the corner. And 3, and off we go along the side. Now what I've already done here is remove the 2 highly saturated colours. I took out the gold and the copper because what I was seeing was that the rest of my colours were quite calming, almost pastel, so I thought I'd just run with that theme instead. It's not something I would normally do, so time to have a go. There we are at corner number 2. I'm going to leave you here. Here we've finished round 14, and doesn't your square look great? There's no waviness or floppiness, there's no swaying or slanting to one side. It's beautifully straight and is going to make a wonderful project. So I'm going to go now and let you keep crocheting. It all depends on which option you've chosen from the video I put up previously to this one. I have chosen to do 4 granny squares, join them, and then do a big border around the edge. So I'll come back when it's time to do the continuous join as you go, so I can teach you that method as well. It's really quick and easy. You'll love it once you know how. Okay everybody, happy crochet and can't wait to see what you're making. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.